to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. This is episode 118, and this one is coming at you a little later than usual, thanks to the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, who left Tron without fucking electricity for almost a full day. Literally was in the middle of a Modern Warfare leveling session, putting in the grind, and they pull the plug on the old Tronster. I'm just becoming too powerful is really what it is. That said, I had a hell of the week on Al Mazrah, but mostly Ashika Island, and a good deal of Modern Warfare 2. But I believe you, Cowboy, have been away off the ranch, MIA from the Warzone. With that said, how was your week in whatever the fuck was going on?
Yes, thank you. The week was good. No Warzone this week at all. Been watching from the sidelines. Been watching a lot of streaming, actually, because I don't have a console, don't have a way to play. So I've been watching friends play, professionals play. Unfortunately, there's no overlap there. But yes, I've been watching a lot of friends play on the streams, and it looks fun, looks faster, looks a little different. But yeah, my perspective is that of a viewer and an audience member, not an actual participant this week. Again, out of town, but I am coming home in 2 days, so I will be hopefully playing again if my sanity and mental state is ready to just get slapped around, which who knows these days where I'm at mentally with the game. But other than that, the week has been fantastic. This is a podcast about the Warzone, so I won't get into my personal life too deep, but it's been a good week. How about you, Tron? How was your week in the Warzone?
Oh, wow. I mean, well, first off, of all the times over the course of Warzone 2 to take a week off, I mean, if you had done this a month ago, you wouldn't have missed anything because the metal was stale. Nothing was really ever changing. And then even after that first, we talked to y'all last week with our first impressions, anticipating everything got shaken up. That actually wasn't the case. It kind of feel like you could have taken last week's discussion, put it to this week, because a lot of the stuff we talked about didn't come to fruition right away in season 2, but they've since. This was a week of turmoil, a week of upheaval, a week of actually changing the meta somewhat significantly, I can say. Definitively. So a lot going on. When you do get back, it might be a little jarring, but as always, Tron will be there to hold your little hand and walk you through it.
Yeah. Thanks.
But yes, I noticed you did do quite a bit of spectating. Unfortunately, you happened to miss Tron, or had a day or a match, I should say, on Ashika Island. I tied my Warzone 2 PR. I hit 14 kills. 10 of those came like within the first few minutes. It was an insane game. Feeling it a little bit this week.
Yeah, it's you've been playing well lately. It's interesting. It's like, you played for a couple of years. We played heavy together for 2 years, and you were pretty static. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you've been getting these explosively large, big games. It's like something's changed, but I can't put my finger on it. What do you think?
The sweatiness is coming to play. I mean, in Warzone 1, we had the FOV. We were tied to that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting answer.
I was playing on a shit TV.
Oh, totally.
I didn't have the back paddles.
Mm-hmm.
All those switches, baby, have been flipped for the Tronster.
So you're saying it's a digital improvement. So you have a new setup which is helping your gameplay.
I mean, that's got to be some of it. Like, now I'm really starting to like jump into engagements, doing a little bit of drop shotting.
But so not much has changed with your gameplay. You're more just hitting your shots.
I don't know. I mean, I'm playing differently, more aggressive now, more confident, smarter. But it is Ashika Island though, so you get the resurgence mechanic. And I mean, there was times when we were in the thick of our rebirth careers, like we were dropping bangers a lot. So
I mean, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say I saw a clip. You had 45 kills in a multiplayer match, which is pretty. And you were at the top of the leaderboard, which I mean, that's pole territory. One of our friends of the pod that is extremely good at this game, and you're now entering that territory. It's just interesting how all of a sudden you've become a monster. It's unbelievable. We might need to change the name of this podcast, it sounds like.
And for the record, that was a multiplayer 45 kill. That was not on shipment. It was on the one map where there's like a main central building. I forget the fucking name of it. But yeah, I was leveling that ISO Hemlock. I feel like the ranked play addition to Modern Warfare, though, in fairness, has pulled a lot of the sweat lords that run multiplayer to that. And so I was playing on a Saturday night, which should be like peak sweat hour. But I'll be the first to admit that the players I was dominating there were not like top tier fucking sweat lords. Those guys are on the ranked playlist, that's where they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you being fully honest about it. It's fascinating. Yeah, I guess that would improve a lot of people's gameplay.
But that said, last week we spoke, we said, oh, the meta's been shaken, the RPK and the Fennec have been dethroned. Here's what we're going to be pivoting to. Well, a few days after saying those words, I quickly realized, and the community at large realized, that the nerfs to the Fennec and the RPK were minimal. It didn't knock them off the perch. Maybe the RPK, but the Fennec was still as dominant as possible. So by the end of last week, I had gone back full circle to my standard RPK Fennec loadout, built them maybe a little differently. And that was kind of the lay of the land. It felt static as ever. The main thing, though, which did we talk about last week, the additions or the ability of snipers to one-shot headshot?
We did, yes. We talked about how it was the golden era coming back again, but I have a feeling there's something to address there.
Yes, indeed. So sadly, with Cowboy away off the ranch, that time of the one-shot sniper headshot came, and it is now gone. We got an RPK Fennec meta for like over 100 days, but a one-shot sniper meta did barely even last a week. I don't think that has now been fixed. They claimed that was like an accident. Thoughts on that, Cowboy?
I mean, it's horribly sad. I guess it means that they're not interested in having a sniper meta.
Nope.
That's what this means. They're interested in having an SMG, and I guess the RPK is an LMG, but a long range, not too long range, but a rifle, but not a sniper rifle as the meta, and then an SMG. So yeah, it's like they're cutting out the the exotics, I guess you'd want to say. And the shotguns, though, and I mean, maybe we're going to be talking about this, but it seemed like the shotguns were on their way back. Did the nerf of the incendiary rounds also impact the shotguns meta chances?
I believe it did. We haven't, though, gotten to what you're alluding to, which is, so everything looked stale. It looked disappointing. I was ready to come on here, fucking rant. I was running into all sorts of fucking issues this week. But then on February 24th, they finally issue what we really had been waiting for, which was a real weapons tuning update, which did additional nerfs to the RPK, to the Fennec, which have subsequently, the data scientists and all those guys out there tested it. They say now, okay, those are actually nerfed. Fennec especially, no longer the meta. So things have now, as I said, kind of where we left you off last week in terms of the state of the meta. That's kind of now where we are at in terms of long range options. It's the Sakin, it's this new ISO Hemlock, and I think the Rawl too, but it's just extremely slow. And the RPK still kind of in the conversation, but it's not the leading lady of the ball, man. You're like, you see her headshot and you maybe keep on swiping now. But that said, the short range meta now much more wide open. The Lockman sub kind of top spot, but as you alluded to, that broadside shotgun, I leveled that thing up. I got one round of it with the fucking incendiary rounds. Still dominates. But as you said or alluded to, as part of this weapons tuning updates, they did indeed nerf incendiary ammo, not just for the MCPR, not just for the snipers, but also, I believe, for this Dragon's Breath ammo. But the shotgun's still dominant. I just don't think as crazy.
So, I mean, well, yeah, okay. Basically, they're trying to eliminate they're just shotguns, snipers, the more like kind of fringe exotic weapons to use. dare I say, a crossbow. I mean, these things are like, they're making them irrelevant again. You know, they want the SMG, they want the AR, they want the LMG. Those are going to be the metas. It's sad. It's disappointing. It's not spicy. They're not mixing it up. It's boring. Okay.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, I played pretty steadily during the quote unquote era, whatever those days were, of the one shot sniping, and it didn't like dominate the game. It didn't ruin anything. It was kind of nice. Like, you had to watch your head a little bit more. You couldn't just be standing on rooftops, or you had to respect the glint. Let's just say. So I feel like I don't know if that's really needed. It kind of added a nice element that now it's gone. It kind of sucks, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer, you know? It's so, I guess the obvious arrow here is what is next? Where are we at now if they've made these changes? Are we back to the fucking place we've been for months, or am I missing something here? What's going on?
I mean, in terms of what I'm running as of literally like date of this recording, I leveled the ISO I unlocked first off through the battle pass, the Hemlock, and I leveled that max. And that's my long-range weapon of choice. I do like the Sakin. The Sakin is very good, but the reload on the Sakin is killing me. I'm always been more of an AR kind of guy. So, maybe we could say like a grower, not a shower. I don't know. So that's what I'm going. And then my short range is either the Lockman sub or the broadside. The Vaznev, though, is back in contention. The Chimera, which we alluded to last week. The TTK, the numbers are off the charts on that thing, so I think that's going to become more popular. And then I guess the PDSW, in terms of movement, if you're looking for mobility, that thing's creeping up the rankings now too.
Interesting. So there's some competition unfolding. It's not is it clear cut, or are you stretching this here? Are you being hopeful?
No, I think it's, I mean, like I said, now you go to warzoneloadout.com. The absolute meta at one point was 2 guns, then it was 3, now it's 4. And then the tier right below that, the meta, they call it, not absolute meta, is let me count it out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 guns. So there's some standouts, but I don't think they're standing out as tall as those 2 RPK Fenix were, in the peak times.
Well, it's still disgusting to me as someone that hasn't played the game in a few weeks that we have the same old shit going on. It's just boring. I mean, it's not to sound too much like Dr. Disrespect, but come on, this is the games or the gun situation it's kind of fucking boring now.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely better than where we were at. When you drop in, I'm curious what you'll run. Probably, I would say like TAC 56 Lockman sub. But you could go back to the RPK. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I'm happy to kind of move on from that. I've been over that for a while. But on top of that, in terms of these updates, is the quality of life issues with this game. Some of the most basic shit were plaguing me as a player this week, like to where almost rage quitting, almost swearing off the game, just basic things. Like 2 instances prior to this patch, we'd go save our $20,000, scrap together as a team. I'd go buy the loadout, but because I had something in my inventory slot, the game, unlike something that's super fucking basic and simple, it would pop my loadout marker out of my guy as soon as I bought it, and it happened to pop right behind the buy, and there was no way to get to it, so you'd see the canister, you couldn't pick it up. That happened to me 2 times. Almost lost my shit. So if you follow us on Twitter, you saw I issued, threw down the gauntlet to Raven Software. I said, here's a fucking list of some fixes. Top of the list is loadouts. When you get them, should auto-equip to your inventory. Well, guess what was included in this patch? Loadouts now auto-equip to inventory.
Loadouts auto. What does that mean? I'm sorry. I don't know. Auto-equip to inventory. What does that mean?
Like when you have you bought the loadout in Warzone 2 to where it either like drops on the ground or it goes into your like list of shit. It's not like ready to pop out.
Oh, got it. So they're reverting back to how it was. Like you buy it, it's there, you throw it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Great.
The most basic, simple fucking
wonderful.
Yeah. This is a victory now. We're cheering on. But yeah, clearly we're using our sway. We've built up a little bit of sway with Raven. day after the tweet goes live, they make this update. So thank you. But check out the rest of my fucking list because there's more shit out there for y'all.
Yeah, well, exciting stuff. Wow. Okay, so there's, okay, well, that's progress. That's basic progress.
And then so we've talked about kind of the state of the meta in terms of guns, in terms of perks. Still kind of where I was at, but tip out there for the Ashika players. Plates have been an issue. They've addressed it twice now. One was they patched to where a player guaranteed drops a plate when they die. Next, they said we're just going to increase the overall number of plates on Ashika. But if you run Scavenger in Warzone, part of that perk is when you get a kill, I believe, the downed player dead player, instead of dropping 1 plate, will drop 2. So I've kind of switched to that. I would ask you what perk you're running, but you're not even in this fucking game. But the perk situation, I feel like it's pretty much all fast hands, high alert, as we said. But the second basic perk is an interesting choice.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I just said.
Oh, did you?
Scavenger, double time, or there's like a battle harden where it gives you less tactical or explosive damage.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even know what I have equipped, but I always liked double time because I'm running away from a lot of things. My shots aren't as crisp as yours these days, so I find myself dodging, dipping, ducking, diving, and dodging. So the running double time for me is probably where I'm going to go. Scavengers, I mean, battle hardened, I've never even considered running battle hardened. Is it really even worth it?
Well, I look at the other options when you have a chance and see what you think. It's not like it's super alluring, but I'm just trying to get some value out of it. That one I think makes you immune to snapshot grenades and you lessen your, damage to stuns and shit like that and explosive. So I'm good with that. But yeah, I do Scavenger when I'm running Rebirth just because I'd rather get some more fucking ammo and plates out of these bastards.
Yeah, it seems smart. Scavenger seems like the move. So do you have a custom? I'm assuming this is like a custom Rebirth loadout.
It's more so just the perk package. I made like a resurge and then a normal, and then if I know I'm playing one or the other. I've been off all Mazra for a bit because the people I'm playing with haven't been that into it, and there's a new issue. I don't know if it's a feature or a bug, but I experienced it multiple times playing Battle Royale Al Mazra. Is I go to buy back a dead teammate at a buy, and it will physically not allow me to buy them back. Their card isn't listed. They're unavailable. We read into the patch notes, one of our friends, that sounded like there was buried in a previous patch, like, oh, there's a certain amount of buybacks available at each buy. I don't think that's the case because like these were really early buybacks. If it is a purposeful thing, one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever experienced. So unfortunately, the Al Mazra situation is soured a little bit. I don't know what's going on with that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, everything that I've been seeing is people playing the new map. Obviously, that's where everyone's concentration is at the moment, and it seems like it's more fun.
It is. It's taking. I mean, it's a feast or famine experience too, though. It's kind of like the Fortune's Keep. I feel like, but the ability to buy your custom guns and not rely on a loadout, I think lessens some of that. The loadout drop situation is back to the old kind of way where your team has on the public loadout drop, you get the loadout. It's just for your team. Sometimes they spawn in bundles. But having fun, I really like that map. We talked about, I think last week, like I want to figure out a spot that we drop every round. We as a crew now have that. It's like these 2 apartment buildings in the northeast kind of area. We drop that pretty much to start every game. I like those little towers, but sometimes there's a buy, sometimes they're not. But yeah, I mean, we're getting dominating wins on that. We're playing with randos. I was pitching the podcast to a guy. He had me fucking spell it out. So if you're out there, buddy, welcome.
Do you have any recollection of who he was, or?
I should have fucking jotted his name down or something.
Wow, yeah. But you know who you are if you're that person.
Yeah. He was like, what does WAH stand for? And we said, oh, let me tell you all about it.
Nice.
That's why it's important, ladies and gentlemen, have that clan tag in your name. Start that conversation. Help us fucking grow. We're always looking to get bigger.
Yeah. Yep. Always. Spread the word.
because speaking of, throwing our weight around, getting some influence, there's other running list of fixes that I've been talking about. One was the loadouts auto-equipping to inventory. That's been fixed. The other thing is now on Ashika, and I think Al Mazrah is, one of the most heroic things a player can do in this game is the gas is coming in. It's just cover to buy, and they run into that gas to buy back their teammate, kind of like Forrest Gump running back into the fucking jungle of Vietnam to rescue his fallen comrades. But now it seems like the expiration date on those buys in the gas is much shorter than it used to. So it's unfortunate. You ping a buy, you run into the gas, you burn all your mask, whatever it is, and then you get there and the buy is closed. So number 2 fix, if you're out there, Raven, write this fucking down or check my tweet. Is the buy stations just have that fucking icon disappear when it's not available in the gas? Is that so goddamn hard, Cowboy?
I wouldn't say it is, but again, like, I from my coding and my deep, video game building experience and all the games that I've worked on, it's as simple as like unchecking a box. But I don't know what I don't know what engine they're running this on. I don't know, what kind of staff they have. I don't know what kind of like vacation that they're on and like if they're hungover. I don't know what's going on over there, but it seems like it would be an easy fix, But for me, I'd be easy for me. But these guys, we know that these people over time have proven over and over and over again to not make the simple things simple,
Yeah, like reach out to us. Cowboy will walk you through it. We'll find a YouTube video if we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then next up is with Ashika Island being introduced, which is great, is there's 2 layers to that thing, to that fucking onion. There's above ground, there's below ground. Well, there's buys above ground and buys below ground. You'll literally ping a buy, you'll run, you'll be standing what feels like on it, and then you realize it's below. And when a player is pinging below you, they give a little down indicator, or above you, an up indicator. Why don't they just fucking do that for the buys? Like, again, these are just basic things here.
Yeah, it's classic, dude. It's classic. It's classic. It's funny that you expect differently. This is what we've come to learn and hate.
Yeah, come to learn and hate and just coexist with some stupid shit like this. And then next up is like plates are such rare thing, especially on a Sheikah, but now you literally don't have any in your inventory. You'll run over one and they don't auto pick up. Like, can we just have it auto pick up every plate I come into contact with? Or like give me an option to uncheck that if I don't want that. But why am I having to fucking manually pick up plates?
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that ever since Warzone 2 came around, there's so much more picking up. It doesn't auto pick shit up. Like generally I've noticed it's been trickier. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, it's so frustrating. It's insane.
Crazy. And then finally, I'm playing this game. I got my high alert and it's triggering. I'm looking around. Someone's looking at me. And then I realize they're fucking 20 million miles in the sky. They've just redeployed. Like, let's make there like a cutoff here. They got to be a certain height to do that. Have you noticed that in your time with the high alert action?
No, I saw people complaining about that though, and it seems like alarming. Also, I feel like there should be a thing with high alert, and here's another $1 million idea for him. Just another one we'll give you. Maybe the color of when it shows like, oh shit, someone's looking from my left, instead of it just being that like yellow orange like fiery color, maybe they could color code it so if people are really close to them, it's like red, and then if it's like over 100 meters away, it's more blue, or some kind of spectrum to where you have an idea of how close. So it's like, oh shit, to right to my left, or it's like, oh, we got people. You know what I mean? Like that would be a simple, easy, amazing thing, but of course it's way too complex for them.
I mean, as always, it's just like a geyser of ideas on this podcast for improving this game, and we're not asking them to reinvent the fucking wheel. We're just asking them to chisel off a few of these bumps so it rolls a little bit smoother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. It's bullshit.
So yes, indeed, I'm excited for you to get back in this game. I think for your first few rounds, you should just have your teammates buy your guns, or you stick with the lockman loadout and have someone buy your primary. But as a guy who had the predisposition or whatever, a love of LMGs, I'm curious to hear your feeling of the SAC, and kind of evokes back to the RPK, which, if I remember correctly, was that your first love in the Warzone world of armaments?
The Socken?
Did I say RPK? I'm sorry. What was the PRK or whatever that big ass LMG you used to run?
The PKM?
PKM.
Yes. Well, that was the first weapon that over a weekend of they unlocked like the multiplayer for free back in the day. I ended up leveling that to a gold. I got the gold skin on that. That was like the furthest I'd ever taken a weapon. And yeah, I had the PKM back in the day. It was great. It was kind of my hog. And then that's when I really learned the hard way that and that was right when I first started getting into Call of Duty in Warzone and realizing like, man, you can put so much time and energy and love into a weapon, and then all of a sudden they just take it away from you and it's not the same old weapon you thought it was. And then they nerfed that weapon and it sucked. So I never ran it after that. And that was kind of like as a child, if you just learning a lesson the hard way, you know what I mean?
You make the snowman, you come out the next day, he's fucking melted. Nothing's forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You really realize that life isn't what you think it is sometimes. So it was the PKM, long story short. That was the one I had.
All right. Well, interesting. I believe too. I remember you were excited about the wrap or whatever. I think those are solid. So there's some options out there. You're not just going to be shepherded to the RPK, to the Fennec. I mean, get the Fennec out of there now. It basically takes a full clip to down someone, it feels like. So that thing's dead and buried. I don't know. The Kazdov 762 also kind of decent, but I feel like the ISO Hemlock is it's the better AR. So we'll see if they do another round of tuning. I don't expect they will for a bit. I think we're going to be sitting here. But you do have the multiplayer, which now it's really quick leveling shit up. So hopefully you don't have that same PTSD of your PKM shit.
Yeah. Well, fuck me.
All right. Well, finally, I guess a final note is I know it's the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast, but with this ranked play going on, I had to dip my toes in, got 3 games of it in before recording this episode. We won all 3 rounds. It is kind of fun, and it's a very pure experience. So I say check it out if you got some time, but also it really intrigues me about how they're going to adapt this system to Warzone.
Yeah, I mean, so what is your rank? How does that, what are you? What does this mean?
You start there's different levels.
Does it tell you specifically if you're dead last or what?
Well, I mean, you start as bronze is the lowest level, and then you go up. I think the highest is iridescent. I'm not sure on all the levels. And then within each one is bronze 1, bronze 2, or whatever. So I went from bronze 1 to bronze 2. There are leaderboards, but I think you have to crack the top 50 in the world to be on there. But it's the way it works is, it's 4v4 every round. You have to have 4 guys. If you do fill if you don't got it. There's a limited number of weapons. The attachments you can run are limited. You can only run a Semtex or a frag grenade. Everyone can only run stuns as your tactical. Your equipment can either be a trophy or a dead silence. It's like a pure fucking thing, dude.
Is that are you saying that in admiration or in disdain?
Admiration, honestly. There's not a meta really. I mean, I guess there is. Everyone's really running the TAC 56 or the Vaznev, but it's these peripheral things that can impact the game one way or the other are kind of taken away, and it's just really everyone's. You run the fucking Vaznev or the TAC. You can't bitch about this guy's got the better gun or he's abusing this new OP meta. There's no incendiary fucking shotgun going on. They've quickly found the Hemlock was too good, so they pulled that out of ranked play. So I'd say an admiration.
But you can still obviously complain that someone's cheating or something.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's cheaters. You'll see them online. There's people cheating like crazy in this thing.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah, for sure.
So zero integrity still, but
Oh, right on. So what else is what other game modes are we working with? We got Rebirth, we got the main island, and then we got
Well, Resurgence Solos was the first new addition. It had only been Resurgence Quads up until this past week, then with the playlist update. Resurgence Solos now back on Ashika. It's a fun mode since they've introduced it on Rebirth. I think that mode's really good, well dialed in. It's definitely crazy. It's really hard to fucking have success in that, but I don't know. And just the pace of the game has gone up. I don't know if they published it, if it's a fact, but the movement speed feels just generally like maybe 10% faster. The new plating mechanic has massively sped up the game. So just, I think the pace of the game has gone up, but I think it's also showed that you don't need slide canceling to make this, like, to have movement or whatever, quote unquote, in the game. You watch the good players out there, they figured out how to move in this game fluidly and quickly. So I don't want to fucking hear any of these cowards out there like, no, let's just go back to Warzone 1. I think they've pivoted enough back to Warzone 1, but still remained like it's a new game. So I hope from here forward, we don't keep taking steps over to that Warzone 1 space. Like, let's just kind of continue on where we're at. Maybe bring like the redeploy balloons and shit or whatever back. But other than that, it's kind of, I feel like the game's in a much better place, like compared to when you left the ranch to when you get back. I hope you'll enjoy it more.
Me too. That is for sure. But we'll see.
And it seems like, people in our Discords having more success. One of our guys in there posted they had a PR this week. As I said, I matched my PR, although it was in a Resurgence game mode. Having a lot of fun, shaking things up. But I don't know if the skill gap's necessarily been raised as they've been asking. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm more excited to fucking play, that's for sure. As I said weeks back, it was like I had time to burn. I pivoted. I literally re-downloaded like Red Dead Redemption 2 and shit. So it was getting dark there, but I feel like the light's creeping back out.
Well, good. I'm happy that you're feeling a little bit better about it. It was getting dark there for a minute, but it sounds like there's a little bit of light.
Yes, indeed, a little bit of light. Continuing to peak. Excited to finally really. I feel like we still haven't gotten Cowboys Season 2 first impressions, so I'm leaving that on the agenda for next week. The feedback from the community, though, seems to be very positive. The Ranked Play Edition, again, helping multiplayer, so the game's getting stronger. As we mentioned, though, before, we got more content planned, maybe not necessarily Warzone content. I'm putting together, it looks like our first video, which will be part of a series for the new Amateur Hour Gaming series or whatever channel that's coming out. So check that out if y'all are out there. But I think that's really going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. As we said, we covered a lot of these changes that we thought had come to the game last week. Well, now they have officially come. So we're no longer just describing ghosts. We're here in the real life.
Yeah, no one is coming anymore. It's all already arrived.
That's right. So I'm ready for you to get immersed in that. Get ankle deep, knee deep, neck deep in it.
Neck deep, wow.
Maybe drown in it. I don't know.
Sometimes I do. Who knows?
And yes, indeed, we talked about the 1v1 gulag is back. That shit's all still going on. I don't know what's going on with this buyback situation on Al Mazrah, but I'm always down to drop Sawa if anybody wants to get in on that. But really, yeah, as I said, that is going to do it for us this week. I'm going to continue to grind, continue to just fucking escalate my play to levels never which seen or perceived by the mind of a 10-inch cowboy. And we'll see where you're at when you get back in there.
Wow. Yeah. The Mind of a 10-Inch Cowboy. That's going to be the name of my memoir.
All right. Well, we will talk to you all next week. See what comes with that. And until then, my friends,
good luck in the gulag.